And no, stuff that one up. Today I'll talk about hydration, what to be able to do training wise before an event, and what to be able to do if you don't have any equipment and you want to use the stuff at home. Hey guys, welcome to MotoFit episode number 3. Excited to be able to get things underway. So I am Andrew Hammer, for those of you who haven't followed yet so far, but hopefully you're able to tune in for the coming episodes. So we've got a few questions to be able to smash through today. And one of the most important things that I wanted to mention before we start is being able to get a shit ton of water in, especially through these hot days as well. I know throughout Australia it's been really, well, super hot. Here in Perth it's been pretty hot, and over east as well. So make sure you're getting in plenty of water, which is probably something we're going to touch on today a little bit as well. So Jeremy will have our first question for us ready to go.
Sean Snow asked, should you train the day before a big race?
Cool, awesome, sweet. So Sean said, can we train before the day of a big event? So the thing that we have to remember as riders and racers is that it's not a one-off event. So it's not like maybe like a triathlete or an Olympian where you're peaking for one particular event to be able to do well. You're having multiple events which all have similar meaning, or importance. So if you have, like, say, a state series for the state rounds for racing, for motocross, or you have the MX Nationals, you have 6 rounds or 5 rounds. Same with your state titles as well. That means we need to be able to get you in optimal shape for multiple events, okay? Not just building up to one particular event. So the most important thing that we want to do is we want to try and stay consistent with our training throughout the year, and we want to make sure that we're not working on peaking and tapering too much because we have multiple events. Otherwise, if we're peaking and tapering too much for each event, we miss out on a whole heap of training time, and we never really make as much progress with our training as what we need to during racing. Whereas if it was a one-off event where maybe maybe it's for juniors, okay, maybe you have just the junior national title and that's it, that's all you have for the whole year, which is your really important event, then that's where you could use something like that. For those of you who are at a state level, national level, what you want to be able to do is make sure that the day before you're not doing your normal training, but we're getting in some active recovery. So when I say active recovery, what that means is doing some longer distance cardio stuff. So maybe that means going for a walk for half an hour, going for an easy cycle, going for a little bit of a jog if that's something that you do, going on the roller for a bit, going for a bit of a swim, maybe just going down to the pool and just walking a few laps. Because what this is going to allow you to be able to do is to be able to get the lymphatic system working. So the lymphatic system pumps lymph around the body. Okay, and what that does is helps to get any toxins out which are released by the muscles. Anytime we have any muscle or tissue damage, so let's say we're training, we've got muscle soreness or we've got fatigue and the muscle's been starting to break down, it releases toxins. So to be able to get rid of those toxins through the lymphatic system, what we need to be able to do is we need to make sure we get rid of those toxins, okay? And the best way to be able to do that is to be able to get a lot of white blood cells into the area to help the area to be able to recover and repair so that we can recover optimally. Now, the big thing that a lot of people miss, especially riders and racers, is that the lymphatic system only works with muscular contraction. It only works with muscular contraction. So in other words, this lymphatic system is only pushing out toxins and pulling in the white blood cells to the site, to a particular site in the body when we're moving. So the biggest mistake that a lot of riders and racers make is the day after riding and racing or the day before, they'll do nothing and they'll call it recovery. But it's not really recovery, it's actually doing the opposite and tightening you up, making you stiff and prolonging your recovery as well as affecting the consequent training sessions. So the worst thing that you can do the day before is actually take the complete day off and not do anything. If you're training hard, okay, and you've been putting in the work during the week, your body's used to and adapting to the volume of training. Okay, it's adapting to being moving all the time. That's what it's used to. So when we get the body moving the whole time during the week, we're doing our training, we're working hard, then what starts to happen is we rock up on, or the day before race day, and we do nothing, our body starts to tighten up. Okay, that lymphatic system's not working anywhere near as what it should be, so we end up rocking up race day tight. So the day before, what you want to be doing training-wise is making sure that you're actually still moving around, getting out and doing something. It's not your full-blown normal training session. It doesn't have too much intensity involved with it, but what we're working on is just being able to move, just being able to get that lymphatic system working and continue operating, same as we would do after race day as well. You want to make sure that after race day, you're not taking days off training. You still have your scheduled training times, but you're just doing something a little bit less intense. You're just going for a walk, going for a bit of a casual ride, just getting out there and moving rather than doing nothing and tightening up. So I hope that answers your question for you, Sean. So what was our next question, Jeremy?
Carl Harland asked, what fluids should I be drinking before and during the day to keep hydrated and to prevent cramping?
Awesome. So was that Carl? His name was Carl? Cool. So Carl, what we want to be able to work on in terms of hydration is, there's actually a bit of research that goes, I was reading some research, and I explained this to a lot of the guys and girls that we work with, riders and racers. They had a study where they had about 10 athletes, okay, or 10 people that were exercising, and they did a study with high intensity exercise. And what they found is that a decrease in about 10% of your level of hydration, so in other words, you're 10% dehydrated, you're not at 100%, you're at about 90%, resulted in potentially up to 30 or 40% decrease in overall performance. So in other words, what that means is you can have the best training program, the best nutrition, okay, you can have the best exercise, the best flexibility, and be really, really awesome with that, but then be dehydrated rocking up to race day, which a lot of riders and racers are. They don't think they are. They think they take in plenty of water, but they don't. And that means that affects their performance, especially if you're out in the heat, out on race day as well. So in terms of cramping, the reason that we get cramps is because, or the main reason that people cramp is because there's not enough water in the muscle. So the body's made up of roughly 65% water, which is a big majority. So when that starts to decline, our muscles, think about water as being like oil for your muscles. Okay, so when that oil starts to run out, it's exactly like your bike. What happens to your bike when the oil starts to run out? It starts to run dry, right? It doesn't work as effectively, doesn't work as efficiently. Things start to work much harder and grind a lot more than what they did before. That's what we want to be able to prevent with our body by making sure we have as much water as possible. So the average, just a rough guide, we want to be taking in 40 mils of water per day. This is actually actionable stuff that you can do. 40 mils of water per day per kilo of body weight. Okay, so if you're around 95 kilos, I think that's about 4 litres, 3.8 litres, 4 litres. Now that's on a normal day. If it's riding or racing day, okay, or you're someone who has a fairly laborious job where you're moving around all the time, you're gonna have to increase that even further. So most people think they take in a lot of water, but they're actually not taking in much at all. So you need to be able to get into a habit, and the reason why I brought this prop on with me today is to be able to make sure that you can bring your water bottle everywhere. So there's 4 things that you should really bring with you everywhere, and that is your keys, your wallet, your phone, and your drink bottle. Because if you don't have your drink bottle with you the whole time, you're not going to get the water in, right? If I didn't have my drink bottle with me during the night or with me in the morning when I was ready to go, that means I'm trying to force 3-4 litres of water in all at one time, which obviously isn't going to happen and isn't going to be as effective as well. So in terms of hydration, to answer the question with hydration more directly, the days before race day are more important in terms of hydration than the actual day. Most riders and racers, Kyle, get up to race day and they want to get all the water in on race day. They've got the Powerades, the Gatorades, they've got a shit ton of water, and they're all trying to get that in on race day, but it's already too late. Okay, if you're worrying about hydration, once you're already dehydrated, it's too late. You need to take care of the hydration the days before. So I would say a week before, but really it should be every day. Because if you can maximize your hydration and get an extra 30-40% performance because you've been operating dehydrated, imagine how much more you'd get out of your training now. Imagine what's going to happen when you rock up for your 3 or 4 sessions at the gym when you're able to get more work out of them, right? Obviously you're going to progress a lot quicker. So it's not about just hydrating for a specific day, it's about hydrating long term and making it part of your daily life. And then obviously being able to get the benefits from that from training and from riding and racing, as well as helping to prevent cramping as well. And just a side note on that as well, a lot of people use supplements like magnesium and things like that. Magnesium controls the contraction of muscles. Okay, so when we have lower amounts of magnesium, the contraction in our muscle isn't as good. When we have higher levels of magnesium in the body, the muscle contraction is a lot better. Now, a lot of people use magnesium because they don't get enough water in. Okay, they think the magnesium is helping them when it's probably maybe giving them this much help, rather than actually doing the proper work, doing the groundwork and getting the water in and having this much of an effect. So my recommendation would be, if you're using supplements, if you're using magnesium to try and stop cramping, cut the magnesium out and just work on the water. And chances are, in most cases, you're not actually going to need the magnesium. You're not going to need the supplements. You just need to take more care of your water intake. So that's a bit on hydration. So what's our next question, Jeremy?
Thomas Collins asked, what exercises can you do to improve strength without equipment?
Awesome. So Thomas is saying, what exercises can we do to be able to improve our strength without equipment? So my best advice with that is to go and buy some equipment. A lot of people try and just scrounge around and try and do exercises at home and try and use the equipment they've got, and then they don't get the results from it. So number one, you waste your time because you go and do all the sessions and don't get the results from it. And number two, you have this equipment at home that you're not actually getting any use from, okay? Or you're just trying to use the equipment. We've got to shift from that mindset. We can't have a mindset, Thomas, of focusing on what equipment do we have and then trying to get results from what we have. You need to figure out what result you want and then work out what equipment you need to be able to get that result, okay? So you need to be able to, the thing that will give you drive and motivation over the long term with your training is getting results. If you see that every week you're getting on the bike, every time you go out to the track, you can ride harder for longer, you can spend more time on the bike, you're recovering quicker, you have more energy, okay, you're going to go and do the training. If you're just trying to use equipment that you have or trying to do stuff at home in the garage with what you've got, okay, or trying to find exercises that don't require a gym membership, don't require this, don't require that, then what that's going to mean is that yes, okay, maybe for the initial weeks you'll stick to it and be able to crack through, but over the long term you're not going to, because over the next 12 months, over the next 3 years, over the next 5 years, you're going to do the training, you're going, oh, I'm not really getting better at doing these push-ups, I'm not really getting better at doing these squats or sit-ups or whatever you're doing, and your drive and motivation is going to drop. So my best advice, Thomas, is to be able to invest in equipment, okay? Put some money aside, either get a gym membership or purchase your own equipment to be able to have at home. So being able to have a squat rack, being able to have a barbell, being able to have some weights to be able to use, and having a setup that you're able to use to be able to get the best results. So like we talked about on one of the previous episodes, being able to do those multi-joint movements, being able to do the interval training, and making sure that you're setting yourself up for success over the long term. So think about equipment. Don't think of the equipment as a cost that's happening right now. Think of it as an investment, because you're going to be using this equipment for the rest of your life. If you're getting results from it, then you're going to have that drive and motivation to keep going. Most people don't have that drive and motivation with their training because they don't see the progress. They don't see that they're improving. They see that they're putting in the work, they're going in the garage, they're doing the 3 or 4 sessions a week, they're not doing the right stuff, they don't have the right equipment, so they don't get the results, so they don't continue with it. And then they're always looking for the next best thing rather than just having the best thing and being able to just focus on the riding and racing side of things. So my best advice would be to not worry about trying to use the equipment that you've got, is actually working the opposite way around, figuring out what you want to improve and what you want to achieve. And I'm assuming that obviously by putting in your question that that's to help you out on the bike, out on race day. And then reverse engineer from then find the equipment you need that's going to help you get there the best. We always start with the result. We always have to reverse engineer. Start with the result that you want and what you're trying to improve, and then work backwards from there and then work out the training. Don't work out the training and then figure out and then try and hope that it's going to get you the result that you're after. We need to reverse engineer. Always start with the goal, work backwards from there and find out what you need to do during the week. So I hope that answers your question, Thomas. So today's question of the day, to be able to wrap today up, is, so I know our last question from last week was about what you found helpful, what the number one thing you feel that you could implement that was actionable from the episode. So for today's question, what I want you to be able to answer is, what is the number one goal that you're working towards this coming season? So like we just talked about today, we're always starting with the goal and then reverse engineering the training from them. I want you to put in the comments below, I want you to post up, what's the number one thing that you're actually working towards that you want to achieve? So this is a perfect one for you as well, Thomas. What do you want to be able to achieve? What's the actual end goal that you want from your training over the coming months? Where do you want to be in the next 3 months? And I want you to post that in the comments below. So you can go through and have a look at what everyone else is working towards as well, and try and build up a little bit of community on here. So try and to communicate with the other guys, support everyone. Try and build up a bit of a community, support the other guys, and then in turn they're going to support you as well. Try and build up some relationships and friendships with riders and racers from around Australia that are exactly like you. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. and we'll be back ready for episode number 4 next week. See you then, guys.